What's up, guys? So for the past couple months, I've been slowly swapping my glories for crystal keys. I figured since free to play, I've had 80 crafting, but it was only until maybe 6 months ago that I started swapping my glories for crystal keys. I mean, if you look at the price right now, glories themselves are going for insane amounts. I was just doing this just to kind of generate like an extra glory every now and then. Considering you can also get key halves from opening keys, but yeah, these prices are insane. 260k, 280k, and look at the amount of people. Now when you go to buy, there's a ton of people. They want glories, man. I mean, some of these people are probably flipping, like this guy, but yeah, a lot of people want their 28 glories in order to move around the game. Now, obviously, it's not necessary to have that many glories, but it's the most that you can bring to recharge at the Heroes Guild. And for some reason, a lot of people don't want to complete Heroes Quest. I don't know if people can't find a partner, but if you just go on the forums, there's people that sell quest kits and offer the partnership for that quest, so it's really not that hard to get. But I don't know if there's like a defense requirement or if like peers are restricted from doing it. But a lot of people pay like 5k just to swap for like a charged glory, and over time, like, you'll end up being really close to just being able, you're spending as much as a glory's worth in just charges alone after like a couple swaps. So yeah, that's just 2004 Escape in a nutshell for you guys. But I was mainly curious to see what the actual average loot of a crystal key is on this server. In old school, the current average is like 23.8k, but the prices of everything is like way less. Like a D-stone on old school right now is 15k, and key halves are going for 10k each. That's insane. Like coal, iron, all this stuff is like really expensive right now. This might change when Kingdom comes out. Like, I don't know what coal is going to end up, but right now iron is like 315 each and coal is like 450. Insane. But yeah, I was just seeing, you know, there's so many people. I thought that I wouldn't make that much money. I was just kind of hoping to kind of generate an extra glory every now and then, because I'm slowly kind of preparing for when the Abyss comes out. I do want to try it, but I know that there's going to be like every PKer in the game. I mean, if you're Scold and you run up there, it's basically like a 50-50 if you're going to lose your glory or not. That's just like, you can't go to the agility course in the Wildy and expect to get like a free 300k. Like, the most you're gonna get is like a couple cakes and maybe, if you're lucky, a couple super energies. You know, PKing, you know, unless you're versus another PKer, you're not gonna get like loot as good as trying to kill someone that is crafting gnats, for example. And I did a lot of gnats back in the day in early old school, and man, PKers all the time. But yeah, just looking at the drop table, it's basically a 8% chance to get any key half. So every 10 keys, I should get at least one key half of any kind. So over time, I should generate my own glory from just swapping glories for keys. And the extra loot is whatever. I mean, I could sell it, but like the rune bars are nice, but I was really just after like extra glories, because why not? One thing I really caught on early that I didn't see too many people do was swap the actual individual key parts instead of the actual full key, because I imagine there's going to be a lot of people with an odd number of key halves that they still want to trade or get rid of. And I mean, if you really think about it, a lot of pures, they're gonna be camping earth warriors or rock crabs, or they're gonna be camping something for a very long time, especially pures. So I figured they're probably gonna be the people that trade me the most, and probably want glories the most because they're gonna be PKing with them as well. So it's a win-win. So I ended up opening 146 crystal keys, and I was actually kind of surprised at how the loot kind of is broken down. So each drop, so the overall drop table is broken into basically 11 rolls that you can get. Like for example, you can get a spinach roll with 2k GP, runes, gems, 3 rune bars, half keys, iron, coal, swordfish, etc. The one drop that I actually didn't manage to get, which was the rune plate legs and skirt, but I did manage to get the Addy square, which is pretty worthless. I mean, I just high alked it, but I think they're like the same drop table, but that was like the only one that I didn't end up actually getting as a roll. And I think crystal chests came out in RuneScape Classic, so I think this drop table is like as old as RuneScape probably. But it's still kind of crazy to think that it's still like really good, even though, you know, in old school uncut dragonstones and whatnot are like 10k each. It's still pretty decent loot. But yeah, on the screen I'm just gonna summarize all the rolls that I got into each drop table, and I think the average loot I ended up getting was around the same price as old school, but maybe I did something wrong. But I managed to get 23.8k, and it's like 10 GP off the current rate in old school, which is kind of crazy. But I mean, the prices of like iron and coal, that probably like balances out with the difference in price of like dragon stones and half keys compared to 2004 scape. So maybe that's where it kind of evens out, but it's still kind of cool how on 2 different games the drop table is still kind of the same. Initially I got this idea just from like thinking about like the early days of old school. I don't know who it was, maybe it was a friend or Oak Dice, but I remember some like rich guy made a video on opening keys, and it's just like, it's been engraved in my mind. I'm like, oh man, I definitely gotta do this in old in 2004 scape. But yeah, I mean, the overall loot is really nice. I plan on just using the coal for like rune ore that I end up with. Maybe in combination with Kingdom, it can just get me like a ton of coal every so often, and I could just make my own rune bars. But yeah, I think the weirdest thing that I didn't really expect out of all this was the spinach roll drop. I should have just kept all my spinach rolls. Normally I was just eating them just to free up that inventory space, but I managed to get 36 rolls on the spinach roll table, which gives you 2k GP as well. Yeah, that was the most out of all of the different rolls that you could get. I guess it's the most common, but I remember back in the day, like 2006, people in free-to-play were selling those things for like 200k, and I don't know, I guess it was like a scam item because people didn't know where you could get a spinach roll. I think you can only get them from random events and Moss Giants at the time, but yeah, I remember those were fluctuating around in free-to-play back when I played. But yeah, in the end, I ended up generating 13 glories. I got 9 tooths and 4 loops. I combined whatever I could, and then I just swapped a glory for any odd number that I ended up with just to create a key. So I ended up getting 13 glories for free, which is pretty nuts. And not to mention the crafting XP from cutting D-stones and turning them into amulets. That was pretty awesome. I think there was like one time where I traded like 28 for 28, and yeah, chiseling a full inventory of D-stones is pretty nice. That's like, even in old school, I feel like that's really hard to do, but maybe not as a main. And in terms of like the overall loot, I ended up making 3.4 mil in just all the other loot that I ended up getting, which is pretty crazy considering like each trade gets me, I mean, if each key is like, let's say 28k, if I did 8 keys per trade, that's a free 224k on average. That's basically a glory right there for each trade. That's just like one trade. I just go, I open a chest, and boom. But yeah, I think it's worth to definitely invest into crafting. I think you can boost crafting by 1 in 2004. I think there's one, I think it's the poison chalice or something. But yeah, definitely invest in crafting glories. And I mean, Ring of Wealths are probably slept on, so you probably don't even need the glory crafting level to actually start doing this yourself. But as you guys did see, the competition is a lot, but I mean, a lot of players need glories, so might as well get what it's worth out of it and make some money. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys have any like old memories of doing something like this back in the day? Like, was if any of you guys have played in the original 2004, was this even a thing? Like, what were people swapping for glories back in the day for? If people were even swapping for charge or just messaging the top crafter at the time just to make a glory for yourself or something. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.